hopefully we have the one and only Danny Hatchard waiting in the wings.
Hello. How you doing? You right?
Oh, good to see you, Danny. Where are you joining us from? Now, you said you're not in Essex at the moment, are you?
No, I don't live in Essex. No, I live in North London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you feeling a bit festive for our Christmas cracker? I can't see a Christmas tree behind you.
There is a Christmas tree right in front of me, so you're getting the back of my front room at the moment.
Oh, well, look, thanks for joining us.
No,
I want to hear about you and your fantastic acting career as well. And also, because it is VegFest, we want to find out a little bit more about your vegan journey, your thoughts about veganism. I've been vegan about 25 years. Tim's been vegan about 40 years. So we're kind of like, we've probably been vegan just when you was a tiny kid or before you were born. What was your turning point, first of all, Danny?
Well, I must say, first of all, 25 years and 40 years, I mean, that's astounding. So many congratulations to you for lasting that long. And
we haven't run out of protein yet. We're getting
I'll B12. You look very B12 deficient, all of you.
Yeah,
you can see. Honestly, I need to get some B12 in your system. Honestly, it's just a liberty. But, no, honestly, and a fantastic achievement. So congratulations to you both. And also, what an exciting time to be alive with the way that veganism is progressing and they're ever progressing. Veganuary is a massive success, and people, and I think more so now with the internet and the exposure that we have now with regards to how veganism and being vegan can be so great for your health, so great for the environment, and also hugely educational in terms of exposing exactly what animal agriculture does to the poor fur babies out there who are suffering. I wish I could have said that, I've hit decades long for being a vegan, but unfortunately, it's only coming up to a couple of years. But there is absolutely no going back for me. I am vegan through and through. Still learning, might I add. There's still a lot to learn. There's still a lot of questions. There's still a lot of labels I have to read. But I am certainly enjoying the process. And as I said in the piece that I wrote for Veggie Vision, I do feel more human for it.
That's wonderful. And it was because you've had some big loves of your life, your companion animals, your dogs, and that was part of your journey, wasn't it? It really resonated with you, and especially sadly when you lost them. I know it's a very sad thing to talk about, but that seemed to me from what you've said that that was a big turning point for you to make that decision, wasn't it? Do you feel that you kind of equated your companion animal along with the animals that people choose to eat?
Yeah, and prematurely, may I add, Django. I adopted Django. I say adopted, purchased, adopted, however you want to put it. I like to say adopted. It sounds a little bit more natural. I adopted Django as my little fur baby back in 2016, I believe it was, and maybe even 2015. I can't even remember. And yeah, he sadly passed away prematurely at the age of 2 years and 1 month. And as I said in the article that I wrote for you, during the grieving process, and it was the most horrific grieving process I've ever been through. I've lost very close family members, but nothing had ever hit me like the loss of Django. He was with me every day. I made sure that he was in certain contracts for certain jobs because I refused to go without him, because he was, it was kind of like having a child, I would absolutely compare it to a human child, because to me, in terms of emotional attachment, I don't think there really is any difference. And other than one can speak to you and one can maybe perhaps live a little bit longer. But after he died, during the grieving process, I immediately became detached to what I was eating, which was meat products. like everything. I'd eat anything. I've got a huge appetite. I'm a growing lad. And the smell of meat made me feel very sick, and I couldn't figure out why. And I was thinking it was maybe a side effect of grief, but I think subconsciously, a very deep subconsciously, I'm a very emotional. I'm a very emotional person. I'm very. I like to consider myself compassionate. I think very deep in my subconscious, it finally clicked that I was eating sentient beings that were fully capable of the emotional intelligence that Django had, and for me, it was just an absolute no-brainer to just knock it on the head. I went vegetarian first, and although this is some people in the vegan world, they do, try to encourage people to go vegan straight away. But I think, there's a lot of people out there, ignorance is bliss. There's a lot of people out there who are scared to just jump straight into veganism because it can become very overwhelming at the start. So, I try to detach myself from cheese and dairy products quite quickly. And then eventually, entered into the vegan world and became vegan. I couldn't tell you when I became vegan. I just woke up one day and realized I wasn't eating any more products that come from animals anymore. For me, it was a decision to wean myself off of those products and just and go for a journey and embrace this adventure to completely take animal products away from my diet. And just from typical lifestyle things as well, like I'm avoiding all leather products and any, even alcohol. I won't drink ale or beer or wine that's been fined through a fish product. I think if you're going to become vegan for the animals, and then you need to do it full out. But again, it's a journey, it's an adventure. It's you are going to make mistakes on the way, but I think it's the thought and the intention behind it that counts. And I feel very proud and very happy and content that I'm in this journey. So yeah,
I love it. I love what you're saying. It really resonates with me. Because I've got the pleasure over the years of speaking to many people at VegFest, regular people, celebrities, singers, doctors, and I think what you're saying really will resonate with our viewers because it is a very exciting journey, and many people come to that realization that actually I'm eating an animal. For me, it was I'm eating the rotting flesh of a dead animal, and I think far too much of myself to put that in my body. It was very selfish reasons, I think, first of all. For me, yes, we could all be junk food vegans, and I love a bit of flipping vegan junk food, don't we all? But I feel that, when we go vegan and we do incorporate the rainbow of food and we incorporate wonderful vegan products, we can see some really good health benefits. For me, and I know probably for you, Danny, that may be just like a byproduct of veganism, but on your journey, because it's just been the past few years, have you noticed, any changes? Have you just felt better in yourself, or do you not feel much different to when you were, before your vegan journey?
You see, there are a lot of people that do feel a significant difference, and I'm not one for lying to propagate an idea. So I have to be honest with you and say, personally, I hadn't felt a significant difference. But I think the main reason for that was because my body is my business. I've been dancing since I was like 13. I'd always eaten relatively healthily anyway. So for me, there wasn't much of a difference, but there wasn't any negative side effects at all. If anything, I probably had a tiny bit more energy, but that may have been the fact that I just felt a little bit better about myself for not consuming a dead animal. But there are certainly a lot of people out there I know who have went vegan, who have noticed all sorts of interesting positive side effects, shall I say. Some are quite funny actually.
Are you going to spill the beans?
Well, I don't know if this is an 18. Is this an 18 plus challenge?
I'm wondering whether I should ask you or not. Tim can make the call on that.
Let's just say it has certain placebo effects. You know, there's certain aphrodisiac effects, shall I say? You know, yeah, it's definitely something that I feel good about, more so with my mind. I feel like my mind has been it feels healthier. You know, they say, you know, mind and body are two are the same thing. You've got to look after. You can't just look after one or the other. You've got to look after both. And I feel like being vegan, you're looking after both. You know, I feel like a more compassionate human being, and I also feel like I'm giving my body what it needs. And which is ironic because, as you were saying before, there's a lot of people out there that think we're protein deficient or B12 deficient. And might I add, I had some blood tests last year, about a year after I went vegan, and they checked all of my bloods to make sure that everything was good and it was top notch. I wasn't deficient in anything, and this was a good solid year afterwards. So yeah, no, it's it all depends on what you eat. You know, if you just eat the same old thing over and over again, and you don't apply a little bit of imagination in what you're eating and what you're cooking, then yeah, of course you're going to be deficient in certain things. But that's the same as if you was to eat meat.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. Very true. I know Tim's got some questions. I've got some questions. Tim, do you?
No, I was listening. That's really interesting, actually, Danny, because, you know, it is true. Some of us have been vegan a long time. Part of the issue that you see in people who've been vegan a long time, sometimes they just forget what it was like to be not vegan. And nearly all of us were not vegan at some stage. I mean, Karin, you joke about all this time we've been vegan, but it seems like yesterday to me.
Yeah, me too.
It seems like long ago. I mean, it's only 37 years or something. And it seems like, you know, just not long ago. And I think we do. Some people do forget. It's important to understand that it's easy to go vegan in principle. It's great to understand to perhaps to ask why I should go vegan. When you understand why you should go vegan, then the journey begins. You know, so the whole transformation can take a while, and people go at different stages, and people do take different approaches and different time. But it is really interesting to hear people like yourself who've not been vegan that long, a couple of years or so. Of course, a huge amount of people have done that, and to listen to how you sort of, you know, what's important. We were listening to Peter Regan earlier, and I mean, Peter Regan is in his 70s or something, but again, actually in the last few years, gone vegan.
I know Peter, actually. Me and Peter know each other.
Yeah.
No. We actually have the same. Not only do we have the same agent, but we met at the Animal Hero Awards. So I'm a regular visitor of the Animal Hero Awards, and we both were on the panel this year as well.
Oh, that's wonderful! It is a bit of an incestuous small world at times.
It is.
Our inspirational award year. So
he's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal human being, and he's incredibly honest. Yeah. You know, he's incredibly honest. He'll be the first person to turn around and tell you that he used to love to eat meat beforehand. But I think there is no time like the present. You know, you can't feel bad about your past. And also, may I add, which is I think a very important thing for all of the people out there that are questioning as to whether they want to even entertain veganism or vegetarianism, whatever step they want to take first, even pescatarianism. Not that you should be, emotionally detached from fish, but it's a start. It's better than eating meat. I think it's really important that people realise that we're fighting a good fight here. We're not trying to force people into a new way of life because we're not tyrants. We're not despotic people. We don't we don't want to force you into a new way of life just because we don't like you. Do you know what I mean? We quite simply are passionate about one thing and want you to join us and be part of the family. And not only that, we want, you know, sometimes we can come across quite aggressive in the way that we speak, but it's not because we feel like you've done something wrong or we think you're a horrible person. I think it's because actually we know that millions of animals are dying and it makes us fucking sad. Sorry, it does. And therefore, when we talk, you know, when we talk to people and we try to encourage them to perhaps, you know, entertain the idea of, you know, trying different products that are perhaps, you know, venture away from animal products, it's not because, you know, we're horrible people. It's purely because we want to try to because we believe you're a good person, you're a compassionate person, and you deserve to be on this journey, not because we believe you should, but we believe that you belong on this journey because you're a good person. It's as simple as that. It's like I always say to somebody, you know, a pig has the emotional maturity of a 4-year-old. They're generally more intelligent than dogs. I always ask the question, you know, I try not to come across any way condescending. I just always say, would you eat a dog? And they always obviously say no. And then, you know, you've got some people that just for the sake of an argument say yes, and I go, fine, go along your merry way. But most people say no. And that's because they're compassionate people and they have at some point in their life formed an emotional attachment with a dog. And I say, well, okay, then, a pig, an they've got the emotional maturity of a 4-year-old child. If I was to put you in an environment with a pig and you got to know that pig and you grew to love that pig, would you then slaughter and eat that pig afterwards? And every single person says no. And it's just like, well, you have, whether you like it or not, eaten hundreds, maybe even thousands of those pigs. And it's probably a good idea for you to, you know, perhaps be a little bit more considerate of the fact that they didn't want to die. And you know, look after yourself a little bit better, and, you know, just generally try to, you know, venture away from that. And it's the same with chickens. You know, you know, the family quite close to me, they have chickens in their back gardens, and I go out in the garden with them every morning, and they've all got individual personalities. You know, I don't think there is an animal out there that doesn't have a personality. And it's, you know, without kind of going off on a tangent, I just think it's I wanted to say that when vegans talk to people and we talk to them about potentially entertaining the vegan diet, it is purely because we want to encourage them to go down a path that is probably more suitable to them as nice and generous people. And that's about it. Does that make sense? I feel like I've completely...
Danny, we're all hanging on your every word. I absolutely love how you speak and your passion. Yeah. You're absolutely a breath of fresh air, and it's great to see, you know, it's great to see a young man, to be honest, as well, with this passion and drive, and we are hanging on your every word. I know we've got some slides as well. If Pete, the producer, is on the ball, maybe sure. You can run the slides as well so we can see some of Danny's images.
Just before we get those slides, so Danny, I just want to ask you, I mean, you're well known as an actor. You've been in quite a lot of productions and dances and such like, but you are quite well known, especially for being in EastEnders. That's probably what a lot of people will know you for, because of course EastEnders is such a huge programme. Yes. And was it a couple of years ago? I think you were you was the son of who's it? Mick and Linda. Mick and Linda, that's right. Mick and Linda Carter. I remember watching some of that. I haven't watched EastEnders for ages, actually, but I'm sure a lot of people will remember you from that, because it's very poignant. But without going into all of that, there's a couple of things. I've heard EastEnders is now introducing vegan food or something. Is that? Have you heard that?
No, that is a true story. That is a true story. They're definitely trying to be more ethical, environmentally friendly, and they, you know, there are a lot of people there that just generally, like I was saying earlier, they want to they want to try to, you know, put something positive out into the world. And to be honest with you, from memory, well, from experience, from working on the set, you know, the food was often terrible because it got cold after a while. So, and often I would always ask for the vegan option or the vegetarian option, and this was before I was vegetarian or vegan, because generally, you know, vegetables or anything that didn't come from an animal just generally just lasted a little bit longer and tasted a bit nicer after a few hours of shooting. So, to be honest, it's probably more convenient for them as well, but I absolutely am over the moon that they've decided to go down that route. So yeah, it's good.
What do you think Mick Carter's going to make of that, aka Danny Dyer? What do you think? Is he going to embrace the
listen, I'm very blessed to say that,
ranks, do you think?
Listen, I'm very blessed to say that Dan's one of my very, very, very good friends. He's like a big brother to me, and I'm always pestering him to try vegan options.
Yeah.
Let's have you confirm.
I have succeeded every single time, without doubt, in surprising him. He was doing Nativity, the musical, about a year ago, last Christmas, and I popped in to go and see him, and I brought him a plant-based burger from Honest Burger.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell him it was vegan until after he'd eaten it, and he was none the wiser. He had no idea.
Really fun. That was really interesting to hear.
He loved it.
Karin, you mentioned there's some slides, isn't there? So, Danny, I know we've got our next guest actually waiting. A half hour has flown by, but there's a few slides that have been that hopefully are going to appear. It's that slight technical problem there. Maybe not. Here we go. No, not to worry. So we haven't got the slides. Such is life. I'm sure that that's not the first time that something hasn't appeared live while we're chatting. Yeah, they are some slides. So very briefly, I think there's about a minute per slide.
Sure.
Just talk us through each one briefly. What's on here?
Okay, so I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone watching will have seen these people on the telly at some point. You've got Oliver Farnsworth on your right, who was in Coronation Street. You got me. You got Saran Jones, who was obviously Dr. Foster. She's now doing Gentleman Jack. You've got the wonderful Jake Davis, who did Black Mirror, and he also did Artemis Fowl. And then you've got Zara Abrahams, who's just recently joined EastEnders as well. She's also in Corrie and Waterloo Road. Now, this was my very, very first job in the West End in a production called Beautiful Thing, and it's a coming-of-age love story about two young homosexuals.
Brilliant. And your first appearance in the West End. How did you feel about that? Excited, nervous?
Oh, I was buzzing. I was just so excited, and it was such an important subject as well. You know, during the early 90s, there was a law called Section 28 that Margaret Thatcher brought in, which meant that you wasn't allowed to speak about homosexuality in schools. And, you know, it's an incredibly backward way of thinking, and I'm glad it's completely gone and abolished. And, you know, it was the 20th anniversary of it. What a way to celebrate that gone and celebrate love and equality. It was amazing to be a part of it.
Oh, that's incredible. Who's this?
So this is Django. God bless his soul. This is Django. This was this I think I would say is the first time I fell in love. This was I took him for a walk in Tunbridge Wells for the very first time after he's had his second injection along a cricket field, and I was very, very frightened to take him off the lead, but he would follow me everywhere anyway. So I realised that if he decided to go to take a run for it, I could run faster than him anyway. And I took him off the lead, and he didn't leave my side. And I laid down just to kind of soak in a bit of sun. It was a nice sunny day, and he, on his own accord, went and laid there, and I took a picture. And that is just a visual representation of the bond we have, and I just miss him a lot.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, we all know about this, really, don't we? But come on, tell us a bit more.
Well, this was actually the second time I'd met Danny. And the second time I met Kelly. So Danny and Kelly, Danny Dyer, Kelly Bright, they were in my audition. I got cast, and then it all just happened like that. And then I got thrown into the Queen Vic. These were my own clothes. They hadn't even given me costume at that point.
Oh.
I don't know why I decided to wear those clothes. You know, I just thought, what's East End? And I thought London, something written with London on it. You know, I was young at the time. I was only 22. You know, this was 8 years ago. This was a long time ago.
Wow.
And
incredible actor Kelly is. I mean, I did see a bit of the part she played, Linda, and I was actually spellbound by some of it. I lost the telly. I haven't had a telly for 9 months, so I haven't watched any of it. But that's
no, she's incredible.
You've been very lucky there to be acting with two superb people there. But well done, because it's not just luck; it's your own skill and talent and hard work, and an inspiration for people to do that. So yes, here's dog again.
Oh.
So this is Django again. This was actually outside the house. This I just put him in the car. This was when I very first picked him up down in Bognor Regis. And the main reason why I posted this is because he was a nameless dog at that point. He had no name. And if you notice right at the very bottom, it says 556 comments. And that's because I encouraged the fans or support. I prefer the word supporters to give him a name. And I went through every single one of them. And I think 1 or 2 mentioned the name Django, and it just worked. Actually, that's a lie. Suggs. His first name, I originally called him Suggs. His name was Suggs for about an hour. And for some reason, after playing with him in the car, it just didn't quite work. So I then went with Django. It just seemed a lot better. Or it's more suited to him because, like I was talking about animals with personalities, he had a personality that just suited the name Django. And may I add as well, his name was loved so much that Richard Blackwood actually stole the name. And because he was in EastEnders at the time and called his little black pug Jango as well. And we both went to the Animal Hero Awards and was asked to present an award, and I outed him in front of everyone. And I said, I just want to know, this is the original Django. The Django to my right, the pug, is not the original. He stole the name, obviously in jest. And then, perfectly in sync with this photo, I then went on to name his son, may I add, Suggs. After his dad's name for about an hour, because obviously dogs don't get second names generally. So the only way I could possibly name Suggs in honor of his dad would be to call him Suggs.
Oh, that is cool.
This is at the Animal Hero Awards with my dad and Suggs in the middle. As you can see, an absolute spitting image of Django and a completely different dog, obviously. But like when I say that, I mean like the two personalities are just worlds apart, and it's brilliant to get to know him. And what's lovely as well, there's a lovely little spot just at the top of my stairs, and I've got I'm very blessed to have a really nice stained glass window. When the sun's about to set, it shines through the window. And Django used to lay there and look out into the window. And I placed Django's ashes there. And that's now where Suggs lays. And Suggs now lays out that window. And he looks like he's looking at his dad. And it's really sweet.
Oh, that's amazing. Danny, we're so thankful to have your support. We could chat for many more hours, I think. I can tell that, like Tim and I, talking about veganism and the animals is really, well, it's a very special place in your heart. We love your enthusiasm. Can you just leave us with some inspirational words for my viewer out there that's just in and they're just thinking, shall I go vegan? What shall I do it? What would you say, Danny Hatchard?
I would say if you really, really want and love the idea of going vegan because you want to deter yourself from eating animals and sentient beings, I would say don't be scared. It's a journey. It's a fun journey, and it should be a fun adventure, and it should be a very educational one at that. We live in a world of social media and the internet, which is just a fountain of knowledge. You can learn everything and anything that you need to learn on there. Also, may I add, there are a handful of necessities that I feel like everybody needs in their kitchen. You've got this here, which is called liquid smoke. Liquid smoke. You've got this thing here, which is called, it is a nutritional yeast. You get plenty of B12 using these. And then you get all your sauces as well, like sriracha sauce and stuff like that. But also, may I add as well that I would get yourself a spice rack because you are about to enter a world of fantastically delicious food. I grew up eating meat, the same old 4 meats: chicken, beef, God, what are the other ones? I've gone so long without eating them now, I can't even remember what else I was eating. You know, goat or sheep or whatever, you know, just generally eating animals or fish, and they would be flavourless because they're not meant to be eaten. The only reason why they tasted good is because you seasoned them, and if you season vegetables and beans and pulses and lentils enough, they taste even better, I assure you. So one thing that I would encourage you to do is just go on to, there's a fantastic pair of gentlemen that run a channel called Bosch on Instagram, and they also have a Facebook channel as well, and they are fantastic with regard to educating people on how to use spices and how to cook food properly. I would say, now you asked me to leave you with a bit of wisdom, I'm about to do that now, and this is what I recommend to everybody. I would say, if you want to be vegan, give yourself a year. Give yourself a year, and this is what I recommend you do. You learn one new vegan dish every week. One. You designate one day. If you want to do vegan Mondays, fine, but it doesn't matter. You don't need to stick with the status quo. You pick one day of your choice, whatever's most convenient. One day a week. End of the year, you have 52 recipes, and then you can eat the rest of those 52 recipes for the rest of your life, and you'll never go back.
Oh, Danny, I love it. Will you promise us you're going to come back on another time?
Of course, absolutely.
Oh, what an inspirational. Thank you so much. We've absolutely loved speaking to you, Danny. Thanks for giving up your time tonight. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for supporting the cause, and thank you for inviting me along.
Oh.
Thank you.
Awesome, Danny. Thanks a lot.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you. Oh, my God, what a fantastic guest.